Imagine a crowded city at twilight. Strangers hurrying home, their faces illuminated briefly under streetlights. Yet there's an unsettling feeling of invisibility, as if each person is wearing an invisible mask that keeps them hidden. These aren't just physical barriers, they're emotional shields, intricate designs we craft to hide our true selves. We walk through life projecting carefully designed versions of ourselves, what we want others to see, and what we want to believe about ourselves. But deep inside, there lies a silent observer. If we dare to stop and look closely, we may begin to sense the dissonance between these masks and the elusive hidden self beneath them. Tonight, we'll explore this idea of the masks we wear, journeying through the realms of philosophy, psychology, and spirituality. Let us delve into the alienation created by these personas, uncover the multiplicity within us, and search for the authentic self buried beneath the illusions. Our journey begins in the minds of philosophers who have long pondered the complex dance between self and society. To existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre, the world is indifferent, leaving us with the freedom and the burden to define our identities. Sartre proposed that we live in a state of bad faith when we refuse to embrace this freedom, instead relying on roles imposed by society. Take the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who questioned our need for these personas. For Nietzsche, embracing our unique will to power is crucial to self-discovery. Yet society discourages this, pushing us to conform, to wear masks that fit the mold. Alienation, Nietzsche warned, grows within us when we betray ourselves to meet societal expectations. But the truth is rarely simple. For many of us, these masks begin as self-protection, as a way to belong, to feel accepted. But gradually, they can transform into walls, barricading us from our own inner chaos. Heidegger's existential alienation paints a stark picture. We are strangers to ourselves, adrift within our own beings. With each philosopher's perspective, a theme of disconnection emerges, as if the very act of living in a social world demands that we sacrifice pieces of ourselves. Yet this alienation has a paradoxical beauty. It creates an ache, a yearning for authenticity, a call to look beyond the mask and question who we truly are. The journey becomes more intricate as we delve into psychology. Psychologist Carl Jung referred to this hidden part of ourselves as the shadow, those traits we bury because they don't align with the mask we present to the world. The shadow often holds repressed desires, fears, and even strengths that we refuse to acknowledge. Jung believed that true self-realization could only come from integrating the shadow, not from rejecting it. So why do we create this false self? The answer lies deep in our psyche, rooted in our desire for approval and belonging. The psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott spoke of the false self as a construct that protects the vulnerable true self from external judgment. As children, we learn quickly which parts of us are socially acceptable and which parts are not. To survive emotionally, we adapt, we wear masks. But ironically, the more we rely on this false self, the more we risk losing touch with our true essence. Psychologists refer to this phenomenon as self-alienation, where the gap between our authentic self and our public persona becomes a chasm. Imagine a person stuck in an endless performance, never pausing long enough to remove the mask. Over time, this dissonance can create a sense of emptiness, an inner voice that whispers, "This isn't who I am." Consider the psychological impact of this dissonance. Our minds, caught between the comfort of the mask and the call of the authentic self, experience a form of internal fragmentation. In essence, we become strangers to ourselves, perpetually haunted by an elusive self that we dare not face. As we peel back the layers, another truth emerges. Within each of us exists a cast of characters. Like actors, we assume different roles depending on our environment. But this multiplicity can trap us in the illusion that we are singularly defined by one mask, or that one role is our true self. Psychologically, these different characters serve to fulfill various emotional needs. We have personas for our professional life, for friends, for family, each tailored to fit the expectations of that setting. But as we juggle these roles, the question arises, which one is real? From a spiritual perspective, this complexity of identities is not a flaw, but a path to self-understanding. Ancient wisdom teaches us that we are like mirrors reflecting the world around us. In Hindu philosophy, this is seen in the concept of Atman, the idea of a true self that exists beneath our outer layers, connected to the universal soul, or Brahman. The Atman is said to remain constant, unaffected by the shifting sands of our personas. Yet the journey to connect with this true self is fraught with challenges. In a culture obsessed with defining identities, we lose sight of the interconnectedness that binds all aspects of ourselves. Our spiritual journey, then, becomes about integrating these characters, recognizing that each has a place within our psyche, and that no single character can encompass our entire being. Here, the narrative takes a suspenseful turn. Imagine a life lived entirely behind a mask, performing, pleasing, and perfecting, but never knowing oneself. What happens when the mask falls? When the personas crumble, we face an unsettling realization that we have neglected the most essential part of ourselves. This revelation can be chaotic, even terrifying. We come face to face with the parts of ourselves we've hidden, parts that contradict the image we have constructed. In these moments, the illusion of the mask is shattered, leaving us vulnerable, yet profoundly alive. Stoic philosophers offer insights into embracing this discomfort. They teach that true strength lies not in the mask, but in our ability to face suffering without succumbing to despair. The Stoic principle of amor fati, or love of fate, encourages us to accept ourselves wholly, masks and all, as an essential part of our journey. The final leg of our journey brings us toward authenticity. This path is not for the faint-hearted. It requires a willingness to confront our fears and vulnerabilities, engage with practical steps, meditation, journaling, self-reflection. Each of these acts as a mirror, allowing us to observe the masks we wear without judgment. But as we do this, we must remember that authenticity is not about removing every mask. It's about choosing when and why we wear them. In ancient Stoicism, Seneca reminds us, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Our journey to authenticity lies in shifting our focus from external validation to internal understanding. Our exploration of masks, identity, and alienation brings us to a profound understanding. Beneath the layers of performance lies a radiant truth, a self unbound by societal expectations. This truth is not a singular character, it's a spectrum, a harmony of identities and experiences. So as we step away from this journey, let us remember the beauty in our complexities. Let us embrace the many masks, knowing that each plays a role in shaping who we are, and let us find peace in the mystery of the self, recognizing that our true nature is both the mask and the soul beneath it.